Welcome to Water Table, where I'm on a quest to taste every sparkling water in the world. And I'm in San Diego, California. Went to an independent grocery store to look and see what kind of sparkling waters I might find in this part of the country that I don't see back home in the Midwest. And so one of the waters that I found here, though, is Proud Source spring water, which is actually not a West Coast water at all. So I'll get into that in a little bit. In each of my videos, I like to tell three quick stories: the story of the water source, the story of the brand, and then I'll do my tasting. So we're going to do all that together really quickly here. Stay with me. So we have Proud Source sparkling spring water. And when I looked it up online, it was listed as Mackay, Idaho. Let me just look up on the can here and see what it actually says about the water. It says sparkling, Proud Source spring water, not a mineral water. It's going to be a lighter minerality, lightly carbonated. Prepare us for that. Naturally occurring minerals and electrolytes, normal for spring water, and naturally filtered, no additives, BPA free liner, infinitely recyclable. We have a fund outdoor cleanup, and a certified B Corporation. So it says on the back here, crafted by nature, bottled for nature. Well, our sparkling natural spring water is bottled at the source and filtered by thousands of layers of ancient rock, leaving minerals and electrolytes deliver a crisp, refreshing taste. Discover what makes us so proud at proudsourcewater.com. Now, here's what it lists for the minerals and the electrolytes. It says calcium is 42 to 51, magnesium is 1.6 to 6.8, that's quite the range. Potassium is 1 to 1.3, silica is 7.6 to 12. That's like what you'd find in something like a Fiji water. You'll see the silica forward water. Bicarbonates, 98 to 145. And the total dissolved solids listed between 152 and 167. So it's not a mineral water. Under the contents, it says Proud Source spring water with carbonation added. So it's the natural spring water, but the carbonation is not a natural carbonation. It says it's bottled at the source in Mackay Springs, Custer County, Idaho, and Waddle Springs, Jackson County, Florida. There you have it. We're starting to see that with some brands where they started at a particular spring, but the demand for the product expanded and they ended up having to go to another spring. Or what's happening with some of these brands that want to be national brands is they have a water source on each side of the country. That's why when you read about the minerality, it's giving us a range, because while they've found some springs that have a comparable mineral composition, it's not the same water. One can you may be drinking could come from one source, another can could be coming from a totally different spring source. So that's a little interesting part of the story. It doesn't mean that it's a bad water, but it's a little bit different. And that's about all that it tells us here on the water. Some other things that I jotted down in terms of the background about it is a true spring water base with carbonation added, genuine sparkling spring water, but it also has this Idaho and Florida source, and it's listed on the can. Both sources are listed, so it doesn't actually tell you if this can is from one source or another, at least as best as I can tell. Let me check that one more time to make sure I didn't miss anything. So it says bottled at the source, Idaho, and then it also says Jackson County, Florida. So it doesn't tell you which is which. Am I drinking the Florida water or the Idaho water? But if that bothers you, I guess you can avoid this water, but it doesn't bother me. I think they have found two nice springs, have a similar mineral makeup, and they're carbonating it in the same way. I have no problem with that. The brand founded in 2017 to create jobs in this town in Idaho, population 514. Co-founder was a sixth-generation family. And so they created 34 plus jobs, and it's the second largest employer in their valley. And they pledged to never take more than 5% of the spring output. It's a gravity-fed spring, so it's not an artesian well, but it's gravity-fed spring. This commitment is likely what led them to go to that other spring in Florida also. That makes sense to me. Also, as I mentioned before, it's a certified B Corp. They have these aluminum bottles they're proud of, 1% of the planet. And again, that second spring that I mentioned. Now they call it lightly carbonated, so I'm excited to give this a try and see. A little hot. Okay, they say lightly carbonated. Lightly carbonated can mean different things. It's a little bit of a relative term. So let's see. I would put it on the high level of lightly carbonated. So there are a lot of small bubbles, and I love the feeling of carbonation. So I don't want it to be too light. If it feels too light to me, sometimes that tastes almost like a flat soda or a flat drink. If you've ever had a soda that sits out for a long time. And this one is not that way. This one has a good, lively carbonation that's enjoyable, and it is a lighter minerality. I'm not tasting a lot of minerality. Mm, I can actually taste the bicarbonate in there for sure, and the calcium and the bicarbonate are clearly the two predominant kind of tastes. I like this. This is something that if I'm traveling and I just want to have some water for my hotel room, I would go grab a little box of these to have handy on my travels. It's a nice water. It's good. Seems like a neat company. They want to do right by people. So there you have it. Proud source sparkling water from Idaho or and Florida.